Welcome back to Banter Boys. This is the third episode. It's been an action-packed Premier League week. Let's dive into it. Logan with the agenda.
Yeah, so we're going to hit winners and losers of the weekend. Then we're going to touch on Chelsea and just what's going on with that club right now. And then we'll talk about some other teams and situations. And then we'll end with a quiz again, see where the boys stack up. I can start with my winners and losers first. I'll start with the loser. It's got to be the Premier League referees right now. There have been some atrocious calls, non-calls. VAR, I don't understand what's going on. I think they're scared to overturn things now and go against the refs. The McAllister red card, terrible. Handball in the United game, terrible. The red card to Tomiyasu in the Arsenal game, super soft. But then Eze drew a pen at the end of that game, didn't get called. Like, I just don't know what's going on. But I hope they figure it out because it's tough to see things go to VAR and just not get fixed.
It's ruining games, though,
For sure.
They do love that yellow card off the throw-ins, though. They love that.
But
That one was funny, too.
My biggest concern with not concern, just if one is called 1 week and it's not called the next week, I'm going to go back to week 1 when Man United got blessed by that no call. And then Jordan Pickford does the same thing. I know we're in the gutter right now, but he does the same thing, just completely takes out the player, and it is. But there's no difference in the fouls there, but one's a penalty, one's not,
Yeah.
So, you to say? And then at the end of the day, it's these calls for the lower teams on the table are gonna have effects on where they finish. A point and 0 points are two huge things.
Was that an emotional take or was that logic?
It sounded emotional. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
No, I'm just adding on some more to what Logan has to say. That's all.
Yeah, okay. I mean it's true though. Like it was the same thing basically. So there's just no consistency.
And that's all I asked for, just consistency.
Yeah, and hope it's only the second week for the refs too. Maybe they had a big break. Who knows what they were doing? They got to get back into it. Might take them a few weeks. Whatever.
Sometimes it takes some people more weeks than others to get going. That's kind of how things go sometimes. But yeah, you can go ahead and finish up, Logie. I'll go next.
No, yeah. So my winner. It hurts me to say, but it's got to be Tottenham, more specifically Ange Postecoglou. He has those boys ticking. Basuma looks like prime Brighton Basuma again. He's back, and they look good, and the tactics look really strong. And kind of worried about them. They could threaten top 4, and really push some teams. So we'll see what happens, but they're in a good spot. And yeah, go ahead, Jono.
Yeah, so my winner this week was it was actually Arsenal. Even though they didn't really play the best, champions get results. Champions get 3 points. So that was kind of cool to see how them playing away, man down, can stick with it, get 3 points, get through it, and that's why Arsenal is my winner of the week.
Yeah, I hear you say champions, Jono. Do you want to expand on that?
Please, I think Cup champions like 3 years ago.
What are you implying?
I meant implying that that's their goal of the season. That's what they're going for.
I'm sure that was a goal last year too. And what happened?
They choked.
They fumbled the bag. They fumbled it. They folded like a book.
I'm saying it's make or break for Arsenal this year. That was cool to see how they were man down, got 3 points. That's how you win the Prem, though. You do stuff like that. That's what you do. And then going, of course, my loser of the week. We're gonna go a little deeper. Chelsea's second half squad. First half, I thought it looked great. Second half squad. I got some stats for you boys. Tune in here. Somehow we lost 3-1 with 80% possession. We missed a pen and had 17 shots, 4 on target, and we lost 3-1. So second half team for Chelsea, they are the loser of the week in my opinion.
Well, I can carry off the back of that. My loser remains with Chelsea. To give you another stat, £1 billion is a lot of money to spend That is the biggest stat you're ever going to see. So Todd Bowley is my loser this week. I'm sure we're going to talk about him more. So I'll just move straight to my winner, which I have my little agenda here. I'm going to go with West Ham. They took advantage of a sorry situation and did great with it. They ran with it. They took advantage of 115 million pounds spent incorrectly. Another stat for you, Jono. And yeah, West Ham. Easy money.
Yeah, fair take.
I'll go ahead and go. I'm going to second Logie with Tottenham as my winner of the week. I doubted them so much that I put money against them. I lost money on that. I did not think they would beat United, but I guess United is in a different situation than I thought they were in. We should dive into that too because I thought they were a better team than that, but unfortunately, they're looking good so far. So Tottenham as a whole is my winner of the week. My loser of the week, for nothing he does on the football field, but just some allegations that came up against him, is Luis Paqueta. You know, he was going to set for the Man City, but then some allegations came out against him betting last season. I guess some of it, I don't know all the details, but his family members are betting on him to get yellow cards. And the time that he got yellow cards, like 93rd minute late in the game, they're already winning. It's suspect, you know. So I think he might be guilty in joining, you know, Ivan Toney on that squad of betting. So I mean, what are you doing, mate? You already make serious wages. Why we got to bet? You know.
How many people do you think there are with this betting? Like, how many in the Prem?
It's getting out of hand. I think there's more than we think about. You know.
Oh,
We're just finding about the ones that are caught right now. There has to be more.
100%. There's more. But like, what's the point? You know.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy.
Well,
It's an addiction.
Jono, I think you know who my loser is. Chelsea again. Like we talked last week, right, about Nicholas Jackson. You said he could be that guy. I saw him miss a header within the 6-yard box, and again, you talk about champions, right? Scoring those types of goals. Like you don't have a natural goal scorer, and I feel like it's going to cause you a lot of issues down. Not right now, but even at the end of the Prem. So that's who I got to go with my loser. I think my winner, again, I'm going to have to go with Logie and Benny, and I'm going to have to go with Tottenham solely for the fact that, again, nobody thought Tottenham was going to be that type of team, especially with the departure of Harry Kane.
Johnny did.
We did.
Yeah, that man's smiling right now.
Shout out to Johnny. But, again, we all thought United was going to be that team coming off from last season, but United look like they're in shambles. Mason Mount could arguably be one of the worst signings of the year. So
He'll still make the England squad, though.
Yeah.
So will Harry Maguire.
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy.
Yeah. That's a whole nother debate for a whole nother time. But yeah, that's my winner for the week.
So we kind of touched on it. Well, most people did. I know John did himself, talking about the first half squad, but we want to go ahead and dive into Chelsea a little bit more because I think there's a lot here that we need to unpack. And I think it's time to have that conversation. We kind of brushed over the first two podcasts, but I think the moment's here. Johnny, I'll let you defend yourself first before we come and just give it to you.
So in my opinion, in my non-biased, non-emotional opinion, it's still early. Still early in the season. Injuries are absolutely killer. Chukwuemeka played great. 19-year-old scored a great goal. Out for 6 weeks. Reece James played phenomenal against Liverpool. Out for 2 months. I mean, Nkunku hasn't even stepped on the field yet. I mean, once the Chelsea team we are seeing now will not be the same Chelsea team we see at the end of the year. And I still back Jackson. I still think that he is a potential goal scorer. I don't think he'll be top 5 in the Prem. But I think with his work ethic, I do think he's a decent finisher when he's going to get comfortable, and I think he'll be fine. So I'm really not worried about him. Injuries is the main thing right now. Caicedo, I mean, it was his first match in 60 days. He's only been with the team for a couple of days. I'm not stressing too much about it. He had a rough go around. It was a lot of money spent. But again, I still think hopefully this Friday at Luton, we get a result. That's all I can ask for. That's really all I can ask for.
What happens when you go to Luton and you don't get a result, Jono?
Well, good thing they're coming to us, Birch. Good thing they're coming to us, so we can't go to Luton. But
either way, it'd be terrible, right? It might
yeah,
be worse.
see,
If they don't just have a bridge.
yeah. So my ideal situation 2-3-0, but again with this team, you never know.
Well, and I'll jump in real quick because I know we're gonna roast them a little bit, and I do have some positive views. I agree, I'm gonna agree with most of the negative, but I will say I do think they have the right manager, and I think there are some players in that squad. I think it's gonna take time. You look at like Arteta's first couple seasons at Arsenal, like building the squad, they struggled, but I think the injuries are just gonna kill them. If people can't stay healthy, if your best players can't stay healthy, like you're done. So I think there's hope, but I don't know.
Logan, I think it does take time, but there's just two drastic differences. Todd Bowley took over last summer, yeah. In 3 windows, he spent sums of $1 billion. Arteta was spending money, but not to those amounts. Todd Bowley took over Chelsea for about $4.25 billion euros. He's already spent almost a quarter of that on players, who some aren't even at the club anymore. So when you spend those amounts of wages, there's a level of product
expectation
that needs to come out of that,
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're spending this amount of wages and you get the same results as you weren't before, like nothing's really changed. And Zach, what's the definition of insanity for me?
Benny, you bring up a good point. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, and it's just not the case. Because I'm sorry, I got to chime in a little bit here. It almost feels like these players that they are bringing in they're on like a trial, and it's like, hey, let's bring in the hottest product and let's see what he does in a year, and if not, we're gonna get rid of him. Look at Koulibaly, like
Mudryk.
Mudryk, like. We're looking at some of the best players in the world. Like, okay, instance for Koulibaly, right? He was arguably one of the best center backs in the world at the time, playing for Napoli. Comes to Chelsea, has an absolute shitter, and now he's playing in Saudi Arabia. And they let him go for what, like 20 million?
Well, to be fair, Zach, everyone's going to Saudi Arabia. To be fair.
Well, yeah, and age comes to it too. A lot of the players that they're really counting on, like Koulibaly, is much older than like a Mudryk or an Nkunku or a.
Yeah, I could see Mudryk going to Saudi in maybe a year or two if he's continuing to play the way that he's playing.
This man's played 17 games for Chelsea in the Prem and has 2 assists, bro, for like $100 million. Like,
yeah,
I'm not saying like, I mean, I put all of our skills together. I think we could do that. We could get to it. That's what I'm saying. For $100 million, like, what's the standard here? And that's why that's why they're in the position they're in, John. I don't see, with the injuries, I don't see a positive outlook for you on that, and that's a shame because I had you on my top 6, but it's slowly starting to come out, and I don't know. One bright spot though to be on the good side is Sterling. That man looked sharp. He was going past plays with pace, purpose, and attitude, and that man Emerson had a nightmare. He couldn't defend him. But that's the only positive I see out of Chelsea right now, and the manager. But we know
that man soon did look good, though, huh? He did look good.
He looked great, but again, you lost to West Ham 3-1.
3-1 with a red card. They had a red card too, and you guys
60 minutes in.
Yeah, another statistic here, Zach, that I wasn't going to mention, but we actually lost possession when they went down to 10 men. They went down to 76%. So again, it was a tough match overall, second half especially. But all I'm saying, boys, just don't give up on us. Don't give up just yet. That's what I'm saying. Don't give up on it just yet. Don't be like, all right, Chelsea's not making top 10. Like, don't say that. Don't do that yet. Because I know that's how you think. I know that's how
where we are now. It's the second match.
We're already talking. We'll be top half. I promise.
We'll be ninth. What's the standard, Jono? My question to you is this, Jono, right? We've all played soccer, right? We've all played a Lipscomb. Do you think there's a level of chemistry that goes into the team? Because I just don't see chemistry. And again, you can bring in the best talent across the world, but if there's no team chemistry at the end of the day, no locker room talks, no intimate moments in the locker room, you're starting to see, right? They're not able to get results. They lose 3-1 to West Ham. Like, you guys played a great game, right? I think you guys were on a high off of preseason because you had a couple good results in preseason. you come into against Liverpool, a hard game, and I think you guys had a high on that, and you just thought you could take your foot off the gas, and look, 3-1. So again, I hope that you guys beat Luton Town. Again, I've never even heard of Luton Town before the season. They have like 10,000 seats in their stadium. I don't even know one player on that team. I hope, Jono. I hope, because if not, we're going to be back on this podcast roasting you for week 3, week 4. Maybe.
And Zach, to that talk, that chemistry, them green links that they're having, I think it's hard because they've had like nearly 6 managers in 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. So with managers bringing in different players, say you have 3 players from this manager, 7 players from different managers, like you don't know where the team formation is, and that's why Pochettino's in a hard position because he has players that they spent sums of money on. He might not want them, but they're there because they spent the money. So then how do you encompass them into a team? And then you have players on the bench saying, well, Moody's $100 million, but he's not doing anything, so why am I not playing, you know? So then you have to start that animosity during training and just breaks up the locker room. And then you have your captain, Reece James, who goes down injured. So we talked about it in the first podcast. Can he lead that way? It's just a lot of problems. I mean, I don't know. I don't see a positive outlook for them right now. And I don't think they're going to win this week.
Yeah, you know what? Next time I go to the training grounds in London, next time I'm there, I'm going to ask how the chemistry is. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to ask him what's going on because that's a serious question. But I personally don't know. I'm sitting on my couch right now, Benny. I can't tell you what's going on in the back scenes. I can't.
I mean, I just think the whole club isn't. I actually saw a thing on Twitter today that Lukaku's training with under 21s, and like he hasn't even talked to
just throwing kids on the ground.
Like, if you think about it, like Chelsea is just in shambles. Like I can't even imagine what like the conversations are being had behind closed doors. It's probably a nightmare.
Yeah. See, in shambles, I just don't think that's the appropriate word. As of 2 games in, I respect your opinion. I respect what you're saying.
I appreciate it. I wasn't saying just a season. I'm saying for the past couple of seasons, you guys have been a night.
I mean, just last season, really. I mean,
I agree. It is a shambles. I just think that the Caicedo incident is crazy. Like, you're valued at £115 million. You're the Premier League's most expensive player, and you come in and self-butcher the entire team for 30 minutes.
Oh, he was lost.
Benny, you said it last week. There wasn't a thing that Caicedo did on that field that my nan couldn't have done. In fact, I think my nan would have been too slow to make the tackle and probably not given away a pen, and therefore had a better half than Caicedo. So, John, that's really tough to hear, I'm sure, but
no. I mean, it's reality though, Birch. It's reality. Like I said,
I got a lot of slack for that last week about how Liverpool went in for Caicedo, and Bellini was coming at me saying, he went in for Caicedo. We don't own him. We don't do nothing to Caicedo anymore. He's off our hands. We washed our hands. We ran up the price. We said, good luck to you, Chelsea. That's what happened. We're just racking up bills over here.
Oh God!
Listen, hey, I'm just saying, give the man a little time. Give him absolutely shambles of a debut.
Yeah.
Give him a little time to adjust. He's been there for 3 days. Like I said, hasn't played a game in 60 days. To be thrown in that position was a tough position. I still have hope for the lad. I really do.
Do you think that performance messes his mentality up? Because again, we're not only talking about the amount of money that he's coming in for. Talk about pressure. Now you're adding on the fact that you gave up a penalty, a terrible penalty. Like, again, I don't care if these 20 million or 150 million playing in the Prem like that. You don't make a tackle like that and sit or in the 18-yard box. So I feel like it might hinder his performances for the next couple of weeks. Because I think just with the financial point of view and just having a nightmare in the first game.
So who do you start center mid next week or this week if you're Chelsea, Jono?
So I mean, you got to start. Birch, that's a great question. Because I don't know if you just throw him in there and have him adjust on the spot. I don't know. I really don't. But Zach, to your point though, if he took that as positive, then we got a whole nother issue. Like it just wasn't a good day. It wasn't a good day for him. But Birch, I think you could throw in a lot of people. I don't know who the 3 will be. I don't know. I don't know.
You got Lavia too, Brandon.
I say Lavia can make
he's,
it.
He's ready for a debut. No pressure.
Is Connor Gallagher cemented in that lineup?
No.
No, he's not. But man, that man works hard though. He made some crunching tackles. He's making a good defensive effort. He really is. I will back Connor. I'm usually not a fan of Connor. I really.
I'll give Connor a participation medal. I'll give him that.
We can give Connor a participation medal.
He says he works hard, bro. For Chelsea Football Club, that's the standard. He works hard. Okay.
He would be class at Everton. He would be.
He would be.
I want him at Everton. That's the type of player I want who works hard.
Yeah.
But there's
him with Idrissa Gueye and Decore and Onana. Ooh.
Oh, jeez. We'd be filthy.
That's a good midfield.
But we're not talking about Everton this podcast.
Yeah. And also last thing to bring up on Chelsea. Is there a Brighton to Chelsea curse? Graham Potter, Cucurella, now Caicedo. Is that just something that shouldn't be done anymore? Like,
well, if
Caicedo goes like Cucurella, then
you know what they say, Logie? 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes and you're out. Graham, Cucurella, that's 2. So Caicedo, he's all in, boys. He's all in.
And the thing is, y'all are paying these wages for these players who are not turning. It's mainly the wages for me. If you spend like 30, 40 million on it, you had a bad game, but it's the amount of money you're spending. But Logie, you brought a good transition. Brighton, they've lost some of their best players, their manager, and they're continuing to produce results. I think it's impressive. They're not my winner of the week, but what they're doing so far in last season is something to talk about, you know?
I mean, I think, again, you look at what the coach said, right? He said, you can go ahead and take all of our players, but at the end of the day, you can't buy our spirit. And, again, that is a team that has team chemistry. It doesn't matter about the players coming in. They all play for the team. And I feel like there's some individuals in Chelsea that need to get their ego out of their head and start playing for the team.
I'm saying, Zach, I'm saying it right now. I think the results will come. They've had 2 matches, 3 really good halves, 1 atrocious half. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
And one more thing, what do you think the result will be with Luton Town?
I mean, I think we'll get a 2-0 win. I really do.
Like, you think you're confident with saying 2-0, or you know what I mean? Like I know we're gonna get a 2-0 win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
As a supporter, yes, I do. As a gambler on DraftKings, I'm not too confident.
All right, but
are we touching the Tino bet or what?
I'm not touching it.
Listen, Chelsea is bad. We talked about that enough, but I think we got to start raising some questions for Man United, you know. Sorry, Logan, it's kind of coming under you without notice, but I had them finishing, I think, 2 this season, and I'm having doubts. Is anyone else having doubts? Because I am.
Yeah, I had them at 2 as well, Benny, and I just don't see them there at this rate whatsoever. I think barely pushing Champions League is a spot that United looking at right now. John, I don't see you laughing. You're still pushing 10, but United are just, I don't know. I feel like the Ten Hag, I saw a stat saying that he has, for his first 40 Premier League games, that Ten Hag has had almost the same amount of points as what Pep Guardiola had. Yeah. Where did those points go? What happened to them? Yeah. I know we're 2 weeks in, and last year, okay, they had a successful season relative to what they have had, but that standard has to maintain into this year now as well. And United, they've spent a fair amount of change as well. I mean, they got Conor Gallagher 2.0 and Mason Mount, but I don't know. I don't think he's the guy.
Bertie, would you say Chelsea robbed Man U in that trade? Would you say that with Mason Mount?
Yeah. Chelsea did great on that trade. They recovered some of their much money. But yeah.
And to be fair, they should be sitting at 0 points with Everton at the bottom of the table if it wasn't for Simon to give that penalty away. That's all I'm going to say.
We would have drew. It would have been 1-1, and we would have got a point. We still would have been above Everton.
Yeah.
We don't need to bring Everton. But the thing is, y'all spend wages on players too, like Anthony, but they're not producing. You have Sancho. I don't know if you need to loan him back to Dortmund. Logan, from your perspective as a fan, what do you think is wrong with the club, and what's the direction? What can we hope for this season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried, but that game as a whole, like we had chances. We played very well in parts of it. Bruno and Rashford missed sitters in the first half. I don't know if you guys saw Bruno's Rabona cross to Rashford's head inside the 6, just heads it out of bounds. Then Bruno had a header from inside the 6, heads it out of bounds. So like we could have been up at halftime, and maybe the game goes a different way because they have to come out and chase it, and we get them on the counter. I don't know. So I don't think we played that horribly, but I do think there are some serious issues in not having a 9 right now. Like we really need Hoyen to get healthy and to be really, really good. Like that could be season defining if he can come in and be a good striker. And then they need to figure out the midfield shape because right now Casemiro is sitting by himself and that man's legs are gone. He cannot cover the ground. Every time teams are breaking through the midfield, he's just lost because Mount and Bruno are just running around, which is fine if you have a really good 6 that's going to cover and win tackles, but Casemiro's just not doing it right now. So I think we have to get Amrabat somehow. And we really need Rasmus healthy, but my worry is like a level 2 right now. I think we'll figure it out, but we'll see.
To everyone's credit, to John's credit too, it's early. It's only been 2 weeks, and I know that's when the pressure comes. Like everyone's so anxious because it's so early, but come February, January, when Champions League, Europa League, all the games started piling up, who manages the squad the best, and that's when the true champions, like Jono said, stick through it. But it's early. We're just here causing some havoc, raising some questions, testing the waters a little bit. That's all we're meant to do, Yeah. I think United will be fine. Chelsea, I don't think will be fine, but that's just me.
Logie, do you think that Eriksen should be playing over Mount? Again, I understand that he's coming in for 70 million and it doesn't look good if you don't play him, but I think Eriksen suits that role so much better because he is able to sit a little bit more. I feel like Mount is just kind of all over the place and just not used to the team.
Yeah, and I think in that Tottenham game especially, it might have been better to have Eriksen sit next to Casemiro. Yeah. Like Eriksen's not amazing defensively, but he'll at least sit and cover the ground. So I don't know.
Any other teams want to bring up? Or
I mean, we can quickly touch on Man City again, just showing class after potentially losing De Bruyne for so long, just coming through, as I predicted last week, by the way. I know a few of you went with Newcastle, but
not me. You can name names.
Name names.
It was I.
Yeah, I think it was Logie and maybe Zek. Am I right in saying that?
You're right.
Yeah. Champions. We want to talk about champions. Champions always, the class shines through at the end, and they really did again. I think that they put on a shift. And I think they will continue to do that all season. I don't see them dropping any points, to be honest, for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So
they're a bit boring at this point, honestly. I'm sick of it.
It's like they're too good.
And they just got Doku. He signed today.
Interesting signing too. Like not really a Pep player.
Yeah, I just think they needed to bring in another person because I don't know what they're gonna do with Palmer. Because I think he's trying to play, but I don't know if he's gonna be that guy. So they might try and loan him or something. So they wanted to bring him in, but yeah, City looked good, and they just signed Bernardo Silva. I think there's a lot of speculation with him potentially leaving to go to Saudi, and he just locked that in for 2026. So
that's huge.
City are just so good, and I think like the crazy thing with City is the fact that they play in this crazy formation and the shape, and they're able to rotate their defense, and nothing changes. The standard doesn't change. And again, that's a championship team right there. Like they just know how to get it done. It doesn't matter who's playing; they're going to get the job done. They're going to always get the result. So, yeah, exactly what you said, Logie. Like they are getting boring at this point.
And it's absurd that they have what do they have 4 or 5 center backs that would all pretty much start on
Mhm.
Any team basically.
Yeah, 100%.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the top 10 center backs, maybe in top 7 center backs in the league, the City might have 5 on that list.
Yeah.
I mean,
Akanji, Diaz, Stones. Laporte just left to go to Al Nassr.
Yeah, but they got Vardiol.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. 80 million coming in.
That's a lot of money, huh?
Yeah.
they use their money, you know.
Yeah. Some teams use it better than others, but I mean, it's okay, Jono. You'll get
It's your opinion. It's your opinion. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
back, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right.
Well, and before we can quiz right after this. But one other, we already mentioned him, but I just got again because 8 goals in 2 games, top of the table. Brighton, unreal. That man Matoma, so good. Surely this is his last season there. He goes somewhere.
The Chelsea?
Please no. Please.
Would you take him, Jono?
I'll take anyone at this point.
I can see him go to Liverpool.
Keep him coming.
Yeah,
Salah out, Matoma in.
He would fit in Liverpool pretty well
He really
too.
would. He really would. Yeah.
But he likes to play on the left, and Luis Diaz probably has that lockdown for.
Yeah.
He does. He's
time.
also been class, by the way. We haven't talked much about Liverpool this week, but he's pretty good, that man, Luis Diaz.
Yeah, and Shabazalai looks good.
Yeah.
Looks like he might be one of the top signings of the season if he keeps it up.
I think so, too.
Makes me very happy. I just like to say Liverpool are smart with their money.
Y'all are also about to spend wages on him too, so.
Yeah, but we did it for a reason because we knew it would probably happen. So we're gonna take a step back.
I don't know if this is true, but I saw someone on Twitter come out that Jurgen Klopp texted Caicedo saying that he's so happy that he's gonna be in the squad, how much he wanted him, and all he responded was like, "I'm going to Chelsea."
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's tough.
But it's okay because we got Endo for what? 10 million, 15 million. That's a good player. That's a player that's going to play for the badge, and the price tag isn't going to be an issue. I think he'll be solid, to be honest with you.
I think so too. No pressure on him either.
You don't need much in that midfield except someone that can cover the ground and win the ball back, and then just give it to McAllister and Szoboszlai. So
yeah.
All right, ready to quiz?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get it. Only 3 questions today, so only 3 points. Everyone has 1 point right now, so there will not be a tie at the end of this. All right, we got 2 Premier League clubs and then 1 player path. We'll start with the clubs. The first one, founded in 1899. The stadium seats 11,307.
Fulham.
Nope. Part of their ownership structure, a minority owner is a celebrity that has appeared in Bournemouth.
That's me first.
That's Benny. All right. Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, sir.
All right. Second club, founded in 1879. Stadium seats 22,384. Their away kit this season is bright pink. And typically in their starting 11, they have 2 Americans.
Fulham.
Anthony Robinson and Tim Reams. Yep.
Great players.
Those 2 are consistent too. It's lovely to see.
John, I'm glad I have a point this week.
I feel great with the point.
All right, Birch. All right, Birch.
Don't get skunked.
Maybe not the league, Benny, but here we got a point.
All right, player path. This is a long one. This guy's been around. All right, he started at Leeds. Then he went on loan to Swindon Town.
Okay.
Then his loan ended. He went back to Leeds, and then he was sold to Newcastle.
James Milner.
Yep.
That's a true fan right there.
That's class, man.
Not for Brett.
Hey, can you go ahead and finish his path though?
Yeah. So from Newcastle, he went on loan to Villa, and then Villa bought him permanently. And then from Villa, he went to City.
Yep.
And it was funny. I looked at saw the prices. He went to City for 22 million, which I think was a lot.
That's a lot of
That was a
money.
lot.
Yeah, that was like right after the takeover. Like they spent a lot of money on him.
Wow.
And then he went to Liverpool on a free,
Mhm.
and now he's at Brighton, and he's doing well at Brighton. So
Do you remember when in Champions League when Messi megged Milner and Guardiola even was like, "Oh my gosh," and that man was on the ground. Yeah,
so gross.
Mercy and John, I'm glad we have a point this week.
It's nice to have points, huh?
It
Feels
is.
good.
It
Feels
does
good.
feel good.
Pod.
Yeah, so we got 2-2, 2-1.
Yeah. Who has one?
Zach.
Okay.
All right.
Hey,
Hey,
there's always next week.
It's about how you finish.
It is.
You know what,
There's
Zach?
always next
Thank you,
week.
Zach. I appreciate that comment.
Me too. Because I have 0 points now. Wolves this week.
Who does Everton play?
We play Wolves. We're winning this week.
Prediction. Gotta have it.
I think we get a point, if not more.
I agree.
I say 2-0 Wolves. I'll put bread on it. Wolves are
I'm betting. I'll go 1-1 for you.
Thank you.
I'd say 1-1 or 2-1 Everton.
Thank you. Yep.
Is Dwight McNeil healthy?
Not yet. No.
Nah, yeah. And Calvert-Lewin's hurt.
And Iwobi's hurt too.
Nah, y'all might lose.
Bro, Iwobi played 8 different positions. You guys,
Hamstring.
I mean, would start at
We're
winger.
not talking about Everton on this podcast. It's all good. You got
Yeah,
it.
it's true. It's true.
Thank you all for tuning in to Banter Boys episode 3. Stay tuned for next week. A lot to discuss, a lot to see, more banter.